Emily had always been the second daughter, not by birth but by treatment. Her younger sister Rachel had a way of turning everything into a performance. At 11 years old, both girls were cast in the school play. Emily was thrilled. She had rehearsed every line for weeks. But just an hour before the curtain rose, she found her costume in shreds. Rachel stood nearby, feigning innocence, while Emily fought back tears. Their parents didn't ask questions. "You should have been more careful," their mom said, adjusting Rachel's hair with a smile. When Emily finally stepped onto the stage in her ruined dress, the audience gasped. She scanned the crowd, searching for her parents, but they were already slipping toward the exit. Only her grandparents stayed behind, clutching a shaky camcorder to record the performance nobody else seemed to care about. Remember to hit the like button, comment and subscribe to this channel for more of this. By high school, Rachel had mastered the art of emotional sabotage. Emily had liked a boy named Marcus since freshman year. She finally got the courage to talk to him, and to her surprise they started dating. Just 3 days later, Rachel began flirting with him. 2 weeks after that, Emily found them kissing in his car behind the gym. "I can't help it if guys like me more," Rachel said with a smirk when Emily confronted her. Their parents once again brushed it off. "You're being dramatic," their dad said over dinner as Rachel giggled and passed the salad. Emily sat there in silence, the betrayal cutting deeper than words could explain. Things only got worse their senior year. Emily had worked tirelessly and finally landed an exclusive internship at the Chicago Herald, a spot only one high school student in the city received. She announced it at dinner, her voice trembling with pride. Rachel burst into tears. "You knew I wanted to work there," she sobbed, even though she'd never shown any interest in journalism. The next morning, Emily received a call from the newspaper. The editor said they were rescinding the offer due to concerns of plagiarism in her writing samples. Rachel had called them. When Emily told her mom what happened, all she said was, "You should have let Rachel apply too." No matter what Emily loved, Rachel found a way to take it. Friends, hobbies, achievements, Rachel turned them all into competitions. And somehow their parents always took her side. "She's just more outgoing," their mom would say. "You should try being more like her." Emily started pulling away after college, creating space between herself and her family. When she got engaged to Daniel, she thought she'd finally escaped the pattern. Rachel had even smiled at the announcement dinner and hugged her. "He's lucky to have you," she said. Felt strange. But Emily wanted to believe her sister had changed. She missed the red flag completely. 8 weeks later, Rachel announced her own engagement, to a man she'd been dating for only 3 months. At their cousin's baby shower, she pulled Emily aside with her usual sugary smile. "I just wanted you to know I booked the Whitmore estate for my wedding next September," she said, her voice light and casual. Emily froze. The Whitmore estate was her dream venue, the place she'd dreamed about since childhood. Their grandparents were married there. Her grandmother had promised to dance at her wedding in that exact spot. "You knew I wanted that venue," Emily said, trying to stay calm. Rachel shrugged. "You didn't book it yet," she said sweetly. "And Grandma's dead anyway, so she won't know." That was the moment Emily understood. This wasn't sibling rivalry. Rachel didn't just want attention. She wanted to hurt her. Emily didn't argue. She didn't cry or plead. Instead, she smiled, nodded, and went home. For the next 3 days, she dug through booking systems, cancellation lists, and contact forms. The Whitmore estate was fully booked for the next 18 months, except for one perfect Saturday, exactly 4 weeks before Rachel's chosen date. Without hesitation, Emily reserved it. When Rachel found out, the meltdown was immediate. Her phone rang non-stop. "You're trying to steal my spotlight." Rachel screamed over the line. "No one's going to care about my wedding after yours." Emily stayed calm. "Then maybe you should have picked a different venue." Her parents showed up at her apartment unannounced. "Just move it," her dad said. "We'll pay you $30,000 to find another place." Emily raised an eyebrow. "You never offered to pay for my wedding before," she said. "If you can't support me now, don't come at all." True to her word, Emily blocked them all. Her parents, Rachel, even the family friends who kept sending guilt-laced texts. On her wedding day, her grandfather walked her down the aisle. She wore her grandmother's pearl necklace, the one passed down with the promise, "This is for your wedding day no matter what." The Whitmore estate glowed with soft lights, laughter, and love. Emily had never felt so powerful so deeply herself. Rachel ended up marrying at a bland country club venue, according to gossip from a few distant cousins. Emily didn't care. Her wedding wasn't about revenge. It was about reclaiming something that had been hers all along. 2 weeks later, Emily was curled up on the couch with her wedding album when her phone rang. She didn't recognize the number. Against her better judgment, she picked up. Emily, it was Rachel, and she was sobbing. But this time it didn't sound fake. Her voice cracked. Her words stumbled. I need to talk. Please. Emily almost hung up, but curiosity got the better of her. They met at a quiet cafe downtown. Rachel was already there, slumped over a pile of papers. Her makeup was smeared. She didn't say hello. Instead, she slid the documents across the table without looking up. Custody papers, she whispered. Emily blinked. Her name was filled in as guardian. I want you to take the baby, Rachel said. Emily stared at her. What are you talking about? She asked slowly. Rachel looked up, eyes bloodshot. I'm pregnant, she said. And I can't do this alone. You're the only family I have left. Emily pushed the papers back. After everything you've done to me, why would I raise your child? Rachel's lips trembled. She swallowed hard. Because it's Daniel's. Silence exploded in the space between them. Emily stared, certain this was another one of Rachel's games. Excuse me, she asked, her voice dangerously low. Rachel nodded slowly. 3 months ago, when you were in Denver, I told him you were cheating. He needed comfort. And I've always been better at that than you. Emily's mind went blank. She looked down at her wedding ring, catching the sunlight as it flickered through the cafe window. You're lying, she said flatly. But Rachel didn't flinch. She folded her hands across her stomach. I wish I was. Emily noticed the way Rachel's hand trembled. The way her fingers had faint purple marks. Old bruises, maybe self-inflicted. Was this more manipulation? She didn't know anymore. Get up, Emily said quietly. Leave. But Rachel reached across the table, grabbing her wrist tightly. You need to hear the rest. The grip was too firm. Emily yanked her arm back, knocking over her coffee. The brown liquid spread like ink across the custody papers. Rachel didn't even blink. The hot coffee soaked the paperwork as it spilled across the table. Rachel frantically grabbed napkins, but Emily didn't move. Her eyes were locked on her sister's phone. In that brief moment, she saw a message pop up across the top of the screen. She knows. Then the screen dimmed, but the damage was done. Emily's stomach dropped. You planned this, she whispered. You wanted me to find out this way. Rachel didn't deny it. Instead, she wiped at her face and said, you would have found out eventually. At least this way you're prepared. Emily stood, heart pounding, unsure whether to scream or walk away. Mrs. Chin, the elderly cafe owner who had known the family for years, hurried over with a towel. She patted Emily's arm gently, then leaned closer. He was here yesterday, she whispered. Daniel. Crying. Emily blinked. Here. Mrs. Chin nodded. In that booth. He didn't look well. Emily turned to Rachel. What is going on? But Rachel said nothing. Her face was carefully blank, the usual mask she wore when she wanted to play the victim. Emily realized she had two choices. Leave and let Rachel create her own version of the story, or stay, get the truth, and take back the narrative. She sat back down. Start talking. Rachel hesitated. Her phone buzzed again. Daniel's name lit up the screen, but she ignored it. It wasn't just once, she began. It started before your engagement party. Emily felt her throat close. How long? She asked. Rachel shrugged. 5 months. Maybe more. The words were like knives. Emily gripped the edge of the table so hard her knuckles turned white. And you're just telling me now? Rachel's voice turned bitter. He always came back to you. I thought it was just temporary. But then I found out I was pregnant. Emily stared at her, the pain dull and sharp all at once. You destroyed everything, she said quietly. Rachel snorted. You think I meant to fall for him? You were always too focused on your job. He needed someone who listened. Emily's jaw clenched. So, you seduced my husband because I was busy working? Rachel rolled her eyes. You were distant. Well, he came to me. Emily had heard enough. She grabbed Rachel's phone off the table before she could react. Hey. Rachel snapped, reaching for it. But Emily had already seen the photos. Daniel in Rachel's bed. The same quilt Emily had helped her pick out last Christmas. She shoved the phone across the table. What else are you hiding? Rachel clutched the phone to her chest. That's none of your business. But Emily wasn't done. She lunged forward, grabbing for the device again. Rachel resisted, her nails digging into Emily's hand. Ladies. Mrs. Chen's voice cracked through the tension. Not in my cafe. They pulled apart. Rachel kept her phone close, breathing hard. But in the scuffle her keychain had fallen to the floor. Emily noticed the familiar apartment key among the dangling charms. Without hesitation she slipped it into her coat pocket. Rachel didn't notice. She was too busy typing furiously, no doubt spinning another lie. Moments later, Emily's phone lit up with messages from mutual friends. Is it true about Daniel? Your sister says you cheated in Denver. We didn't know things were that bad. Each message cut deeper than the last. Emily stepped outside to take a call from Megan, her best friend. What's happening? Megan demanded. Rachel's telling everyone you abandoned Daniel. She's playing the victim again. Emily gripped the railing outside the cafe. She's lying, Megan. I was in Denver for work. I didn't cheat. She's just trying to bury the truth. Megan hesitated. Then show us. Give us something solid. People are already picking sides. Emily went back inside and opened her own phone. She found the message from Rachel's phone. She knows. She screenshotted it and saved it to her cloud. She checked the timestamp. The message had been sent during their grandmother's funeral. Emily remembered crying beside the casket, holding onto a rose. Rachel had been on her phone the whole time. While Emily mourned, Rachel had been planning this. Her stomach turned. Her phone buzzed again. This time it was Daniel's mother. We need to talk about the baby. This family doesn't abandon blood. Emily wanted to scream. Even now they were defending Rachel. Emily drove home in silence. Her world had tilted completely. At the apartment, Daniel was already there, stuffing clothes into a duffel bag. You're leaving, she asked. He wouldn't look at her. She told me you were with someone in Denver. I saw the hotel charge. You changed rooms. Emily's mouth dropped open. Because my room faced a construction site, Daniel. I wanted sleep. He said nothing. Just kept folding shirts. Emily walked over, picked up his phone and began scrolling through his messages. Rachel had been texting him for months. She seems cold lately. You deserve better. She'd been planting seeds since the day of the engagement. The texts got worse after the announcement. Rachel had made herself seem like the comforting friend while quietly turning Daniel against her. Emily shook her head. How could you not see what she was doing? She asked. Daniel finally looked at her, guilty, ashamed. I didn't want to believe it. Emily turned away. Her phone buzzed again. A notification. She'd been added to a Facebook group, supporting Daniel through betrayal. 43 mutual friends had joined. Rachel had started an online pity party, and Emily had just become the villain in everyone's eyes. At work the next day Emily could feel the stares. People whispered behind their coffee cups. Her boss called her into his office. Family issues? He asked. Rachel had lunch with me last week. She seemed worried about your mental health. Emily's chest tightened. She what? He nodded. She mentioned you'd been erratic lately. Said she was worried about your stability. Emily left the office trembling. She tried to book a session with her therapist, but the receptionist apologized. We can't take you as a client. Your sister is already under our care. Of course. Rachel had thought of everything. Emily sat in her car outside the therapist's office, staring blankly at the steering wheel. Rachel had infiltrated every corner of her life. Her marriage, her friendships, her work, even her therapy. That night Emily took a risk. She used the apartment key she'd quietly pocketed to enter Rachel's place while she was at a prenatal appointment. It was time to find proof. She searched the bedroom first. On the tablet beside the bed she found multiple fertility tracking apps, dating back 6 months, not 3. Rachel had planned the pregnancy before the affair even started. Emily's hands shook. This wasn't an accident. David had been hunted. Her phone buzzed again, this time a text from her cousin Grace. I don't believe her. She asked about your Denver trip dates at Mom's birthday. Grace remembered. So did Emily. Rachel had casually asked about the conference back in March, acting like it was small talk. Emily realized it wasn't. It had been part of the setup. She cross-referenced Rachel's social media with the app data. It all matched. Every random moment she ran into David while Emily was at night school, every gym coincidence, every party. Rachel had manipulated the entire timeline. Then came the call from Jake, David's best friend. Something felt off, he said. Rachel showed up to our poker night that weekend in lingerie. Said she was locked out. Emily went cold. You saw her use her keys? Jake confirmed. To check her mailbox. Then she came upstairs pretending to need help. He even had photos. She hadn't shown up in panic, she was dressed deliberately. Not pajamas. Not disheveled. It was a trap. Jake's girlfriend later checked their nanny cam footage from that night. Rachel had tried to seduce multiple guys. It wasn't just David. She had been looking for a target. Emily added the photos and video to her growing evidence file. More friends started texting her. I believed her at first. But things aren't adding up. Her childhood friend Megan confronted Rachel directly. Why did you have Daniel's location shared before they even got engaged? Rachel had no good answer. Her fake innocence was cracking. Megan called Emily afterward, shaken. She's dangerous. There was something cold in her eyes. The more people saw, the more the truth unraveled. Emily kept everything. Screenshots, statements, receipts. She even started writing it all down in a journal. In cursive. Rachel had never learned cursive. Emily tried to file a harassment complaint, but the police brushed it off. It's a family dispute, the officer said. Unless there's violence, we can't get involved. So she documented the refusal. Another piece for her folder. Then David's sister Sarah reached out. Rachel tried to seduce my husband last year, she said. I didn't say anything because I thought it was a one-off. She had kept screenshots. Emily's support system was growing, one victim at a time. Then came the receipts. David had been dining at Rachel's favorite restaurant every Tuesday while Emily taught class. Months of betrayal hidden in plain sight. An ex-boyfriend from Rachel's college days messaged Emily out of the blue. She faked a pregnancy to steal me from my fiancé, he confessed. Hospital records proved she lied. He still had the paperwork. Emily didn't go public. She didn't rage online. Instead, she replied calmly to every friend asking questions, offering facts. Screenshots. Timelines. Rachel, on the other hand, began spiraling. Her posts were emotional and erratic. Emily's steady clarity made Rachel's chaos stand out even more. Rachel's lease was ending. Their parents called. Can she stay with you for the baby's sake? Emily almost laughed. Then something happened that shattered even the last bit of doubt. Jake's girlfriend spotted Rachel drinking wine at dinner. She took a sip before remembering she was pregnant. She texted Emily. Then came the voicemail. Rachel wanted $50,000 to leave town. I'll disappear, she said. If you help me start fresh. Emily had recorded the whole call. Their parents started to notice the cracks. During sushi dinner, Rachel claimed she was sick from pregnancy nausea, while scarfing down raw tuna. Dad raised an eyebrow. I thought mercury was dangerous, he said. Rachel froze. Their confidence began to slip. Emily ran a reverse image search on Rachel's baby bump photos. They were stolen from a fertility blogger in Australia. 2 years old. All of it. Rachel's lies were unraveling fast. Her support circle shrank to just a few enablers. Everyone else saw the truth. Even David's journal surfaced, buried in a storage box. One entry read, I don't remember how I got there. I think she drugged me. His guilt bled through the pages. The possibility that he hadn't even consented shattered Emily. He helped him get tested. He started therapy. No social media shame. Quiet healing. He was a victim too of her long game. Sarah arranged a small family intervention. 8 relatives. No parents. Just truth. They laid out evidence calmly. Rachel tried to say Emily faked it all, but their cousin, the tech nerd, verified every screenshot with metadata. These are real, he said. You can't Photoshop timestamps from 5 different sources. Rachel's last weapon, denial, crumbled. Their parents finally saw her drink wine again, clearly not pregnant. Her stomach flat as ever. Mom's hand went to her mouth. Dad turned pale. The weight of decades dropped all at once. Emily's boss, once skeptical, apologized and offered flexible hours. Even her work life began to recover. The pharmacist near Rachel's apartment confirmed she never filled prenatal vitamins. Only ovulation kits, he said, handing Emily a printout. Another piece of the puzzle. That night Rachel was evicted. Her lease had run out. Her landlord, tired of tenant complaints, cited harassment in the notice. Her social media grew more desperate. Then came the final scene. Rachel showed up at their parents' house, yelling, glassy-eyed, throwing a tantrum. The narcissistic rage had arrived. "You all chose her over me," she screamed. But no one rushed to comfort her. No one stopped her from leaving. The mask had shattered beyond repair. Emily stayed calm through it all. She documented everything, her sister's outbursts, her lies, her patterns. Her therapist, a new one this time, helped her prepare for the fallout. "You're not crazy," the woman said. "You're healing from decades of manipulation." The footage from the grocery store where Rachel had screamed and thrown cans had gone viral in their neighborhood group chat. Even strangers began questioning her narrative. Rachel's world had become a house of mirrors, each one cracked by truth. Eventually Rachel offered a deal. "I'll admit the pregnancy was fake," she said, "if you don't press charges." Emily agreed, but recorded the conversation again. At midnight Rachel posted about a tragic miscarriage. One final grab for sympathy. But this time no one bought it. "Where are the hospital records? The timing seems convenient." The comments flooded in. Everyone had seen this play before. It didn't work anymore. Rachel was finally immune to her own tactics. Her spell had broken. Her final fall was quiet. Her landlord refused to renew the lease. No one offered her a couch. Even David's mother, once a supporter, stopped answering her calls. Rachel had burned too many bridges. Emily, on the other hand, began to rebuild. Quietly. Intentionally. Her friendships became stronger. Her work more focused. She and David didn't get back together. But they began coexisting with civility, each on a separate path of healing. The damage was too deep for romance but not for growth. Emily didn't need revenge. The truth had done all the work. The journal Emily kept now sat thick on her bookshelf, full of receipts, records, and reminders. But she didn't read it anymore. She didn't need to. Rachel had taken 20 years from her, but Emily had taken something back. Her peace. Her story was no longer written by the girl who was always second best. She had rewritten it with boundaries, proof, and quiet power. One by one, people who had ignored the truth finally apologized. Even her father, with watery eyes, said, "I should have protected you." Emily looked in the mirror one morning and smiled. Not the polite smile she'd worn for years, but a real one. The kind that said, "I survived." She wasn't bitter. She wasn't broken. She had built herself from the wreckage. And Rachel? She was just another chapter. Ugly, painful, but finished. Emily stepped outside, sunlight on her face, and walked forward into a life no longer shaped by shadows. She didn't need her sister's apology. She had the truth, and that was more powerful than anything Rachel had ever stolen. Moral lesson. No matter how long someone tries to dim your light, the truth will always find its way to shine. When you stop seeking approval from those who never saw your worth, you begin to reclaim your voice, your peace, and your power. Boundaries aren't cruel. They are the beginning of healing. Remember to hit the like button, comment, and subscribe to this channel for more of this.